Hey guys, it's Kingdom Orange 2 here, and welcome back to my channel. I think I promised you guys months ago that I would work on a things that don't make sense about Bratz movies, and I finally got around to completing it. But instead of just touching on the animated movies, I also wanted to include the TV show, live action movie, and dolls themselves. Now before I go on, feel free to check out my Instagram and TikTok pages. It's the same username for both, and I love connecting with and meeting new people. So with that being said, let's jump into things about the Bratz franchise that never really made sense to me. The plot of Bratz Rock Angels. As much as I've said before on how much I love this movie, a couple of plot elements in the movie are a bit confusing. I understand this is a kids movie, and the fact that 4 teenage girls running a fashion magazine is very unrealistic, but a couple of details I wish they just would have written better. I believe Chloe mentioned the girls paying for the rent on the office with their combined babysitting money, and even though the girls renovated the office space themselves, the sheer cost of materials would be super expensive. I guess I just don't understand why they didn't mention their parents potentially paying for it, or why the Bratz cartoon overall doesn't touch on the parents more often. Another thing that confused me about this movie was the ending. After forming the Bratz Rock Angels in literally less than 4 hours, the girls mentioned that the band got a recording contract, went on a world tour, and their album went to the top of the charts. But like, what? I'm gonna touch on this a little later in the video, but for a movie that doesn't feature any real fantasy elements, I felt like at times it was the most absurd. And can someone finally tell me why Chloe and Jade had their dolls switched in the film? Katya's backstory. In the movie Bratz Genie Magic, we meet a genie named Katya. Before she ran away, her and her father lived and worked performing classified projects at the headquarters of ESA, or the Earth Safety Association. However, we later learn from Byron that the ESA is actually the Evil Scientist Association, and that Khan and Zell are using their wishes from Katya to try and take over the world. But here's what's confusing to me. Through flashbacks in Katya's behavior, it seems like she's been living a sheltered life for years. However, since Katya is not 21 yet, she can only grant one wish, which she did for Khan by raising the Earth's temperatures. But if Katya just granted Khan's wish, what was the purpose of them being at the compound for years before the events of this film? I know her dad is a bit of a control freak and wanted to protect her from the outside world, but Katya could have easily hidden the fact she was a genie from people. It's not like people would 100% know she was the one casting the wishes. Lena's age. So when we first meet Lena, she was introduced as a new student at Styles High, but we later find out that she's Cymbaline's aunt and turned her mother into a tree 10 years ago. But if this was so long ago, why does Lena look the exact same age now? It could mean pixies age differently than humans do, but Brianna and Cymbaline look their ages physically, which kind of contradicts that argument. Also, we know that pixies can disguise themselves, but I would assume Lena would drop this youthful appearance when she was around the other dark pixies. What happened to Ginger? At the end of the movie Bratz Kid's Sleepover Adventure, Ginger begins to tell her own spooky story but becomes so scared by it that she runs out of the room. The Bratz try to go and apologize to her, but then a bunch of random events start happening. The house they are staying in seems abandoned, and the girls begin encountering characters from their scary stories. After unsuccessfully trying to go back into their own houses, the girls transform into monsters from the amusement park and run off into the night. Besides this ending being completely absurd and terrifying for a children's movie, I am still left with a couple of questions. First of all, there seems to be this idea that Ginger was a ghost. It makes a bit of sense, especially since Ginger does live in an abandoned house and uses slang terms like golly girls. However, not only do I find the fact that Ginger is dead at such a young age a bit depressing for a children's film, it still doesn't explain a lot of things. Like, were Ginger and her family the ones who caused all of the things from their stories to come to life? And why would Ginger turn the girls into monsters if that was going to cause her and her family to faint in the first place? Honestly, I really like what they were trying to do with the ending, I just wish they could have come up with something better. Character models. So the Bratz cartoons and movies have this really bad habit of reusing models of characters over and over again. I can't really blame them because a lot of small budget cartoons do the same thing, such as Monster High and Barbie. I would even argue that Bratz has it harder because Monster High and Rainbow High typically take place in mostly the same location, so using the same students as backgrounders over and over would make sense for these shows and not for Bratz. But the problem with Bratz is that they will reuse models of characters that are important side casts. For example, Fiona's appearance was used for Callie, Megan's older sister's friend, and for Tiffany in Passion for Fashion Diamonds. Another thing Bratz is guilty of doing is placing models for characters in the background. Sheridan and Mandy are constantly seen at shows, eating at diners, in elevators, or walking down the street. Now, I don't know if MGA thought it would be some sort of cute Easter egg for the audience, but I feel like important characters such as Yasmin's mom or Chloe's dad should have their own unique character designs. There's also the fact that it's just downright confusing. Like, there's a scene in Bratz Desert Jewels where Kana is driving Sebastian in a taxi, and that's not supposed to be him. I wonder if anyone got these characters confused as a child. Fame. At the end of the movie Bratz Rock Angels, we learned that the premiere issue of Bratz magazine was a success and that the band they created was so popular their album went to the top of the charts. And the popularity of Bratz continued to rise as they were able to score interviews with some of the most popular celebrities like Alonce and London Milton, as well as participating as a team in the TV show America Rocks Fashion. However, in the movie Bratz Girls Really Rock, the Bratz get accepted to this elite performing arts camp called Camp Starshine. Upon their arrival, they learn that whoever wins the end of the camp finale showcase will be the star of David Charles' new film. The girls initially want to enter as their band, but debate as to whether or not they should follow their own individual interests. But this leaves me with a couple of questions. First of all, why is everyone, including the Bratz, referring to this band as silly and ridiculous? They were literally the Bratz Rock Angels. I get that maybe the camp counselors don't know who they are, but the Bratz do. It's not like they were a band that the girls formed in someone's garage. Also, while I'm not sure how some of them got into the camp, especially the Tweevils and Dylan, I would assume that the reason the Bratz were accepted was because of their band. Especially since most of the girls don't discover their talents until once they get to the camp. But I don't know. I always felt like this movie was thrown together at the last minute to capitalize off the success of Camp Rock, which came out earlier that year. I was also going to touch on how weird I thought it was that the Bratz and Byron were spies, especially since they are both popular. But I'm not really sure if being famous is a good advantage to have as a spy, or if you would want to be someone that nobody knows. Bratz Rock. After MGA won its court case with Mattel in 2010, the Bratz came back for their 10th anniversary. The line was rebooted with new dolls, new artwork, and a new webisode series called Bratz Rock. And I do remember, upon the release of the first webisode, fan reaction was largely negative, mostly due to the hideous art styles the animators chose. The show, however, was planned for 11 episodes and was supposed to be about the girls getting a chance to enter a singing contest held by their celebrity idol named Whisper. But even if the show was garbage, why did they cancel it? Not only did it seem like they already spent the time and money into this web series, but they announced it was postponed 4 days after the initial release and then never came back with any new episodes. Splitting up. Okay, so my last topic is a bit stupid, but this always kind of bothered me, and I wonder if anybody else feels the same way. Why are the Bratz constantly splitting up all the time? Now, I understand it divides the movie into a main plot and a side plot, which can help with pacing, but whenever they split up, it's always the same groups, Chloe and Yasmin and Sasha and Jade. Now, I do know that Chloe and Yasmin are the most popular selling dolls, but these movies are usually centered around doll lines where all of the girls are included. I guess it only really bothers me because it's not only super repetitive, but it can be a bit unrealistic. Like, there's no way that Yasmin would break into someone's house or that Chloe would give up the opportunity to go to a mud spa to help animals. Even though Bratz is a pretty large franchise, I didn't really feel like there were many things about the show and movies that confused me, but I'm not sure if I missed some examples because I was working on 3 Bratz videos at the same time. Like always, tell me down below what your thoughts are or if there was anything you think that I missed that I should have included. If you liked this video today and want to see more content in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you soon. Bye!